This meeting of the City Council will come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Delasola.
Here.
Counsel DeFlorio. Counsel Hanlon.
Here.
Counsel Mangan.
Here.
Counsel Marchese.
Here.
Counsel McKinnon.
Here.
Counsel Napolitano.
Here.
Counsel Sachetta.
Here.
Counsel Sani.
Here.
Counsel Simonelli. Counsel Capone.
Here.
10 members present, Mr.
10 members
President.
present. You have a quorum. Please rise and salute the flag. If we could please remain standing for a moment of silence. We lost some folks since the last time we were here. One of them was Joseph Cardello, who is not a resident of Everett, but he is the brother of former Alderwoman Millie Cardello. We lost Clarence Hall, who is the father of Detective Hall, and Anthony Toto. Everybody knows Tony in Everett, and all these individuals would be a great loss. So if we could please stay standing for a moment, silence for those individuals, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Before the clerk reads the first item of business, I have an announcement from Counsel Simonelli. He's unable to be here tonight because of a medical procedure. We wish him well. And on a positive note, we have Councilor Delasola. I believe, is it your 29th wedding anniversary this evening?
Yes, it is. I'm
Congratulations.
spending it with you guys and girls. Thank you.
Clerk will read the first item of business.
Item number one is a public hearing. 12 persons interested in the conduit location provide service to 602 Broadway to intercept existing Comcast conduit at the corner of Broadway and Hosmer Street to install a 3-foot by 3-foot manhole over the existing conduit. Then install 1 to 3 foot PVC conduit for a distance of 200 feet in an easterly direction, the public way toward Hancock Street, then crossing the sidewalk and the public way for 12 feet into 602 Broadway.
Second.
But before we entertain that motion, would the council prefer to hear the petitioner first, and then we could open it to? So the chair would accept the motion to request the petition to come before us? It's been moved and second to ask the petition to come before us. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Is there, if you could please step forward, sir, and introduce yourself for the record, and if you could please just give us an overview of what exactly it is that you're looking to do.
Hi, my name is Earl Lawson. I'm the project coordinator for Comcast. This is to intercept an existing conduit that we have that goes from Hosmer Street to Lexington Street. We want to intercept that conduit on Broadway and then bring a 3-inch conduit from that point into 602 Broadway. And at that point where we intercept the conduit, we want to place a 3-foot by 3-foot manhole over it. So if we ever have to get in there or whatever, it just makes an easier access.
Okay. Council DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Is this something that's, are there existing wires that you're replacing there, or just,
No, there are no
No.
wires there presently, no.
there are no wires at
No.
all? Okay. I don't want to get off subject. Thank you.
Council Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, what is 602 Broadway?
Orthopedic surgeons.
Rehab.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Council Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So could you just, how long do you think this will take, and, will be a disruption to any of the traffic there, or what do you
There shouldn't be any
anticipate?
disruption in traffic. We would just cone it off or block it off the day we were working. So I'm probably looking at 3 days worth of work.
3 days?
Yeah, depending what they find underneath the street too, is going to be another issue. It could be cobblestone, something like that, I don't know. But normally, it's something that would take about 3 days.
Okay, thank you.
Council Delasola.
The repair of the sidewalk, I know it's concrete now. How
We
long
we
until-
would saw cut a complete panel, take it out and replace that complete panel.
Before you leave and you're finally done there?
Yes.
Or do you come back a month or two later?
No, we won't, that sidewalk, we won't go a month or two later. Sidewalk will probably fix within the first week.
All right, thank you.
Council DeFlorio? Okay. Any other questions?
Will be excused, the customary thanks.
Thank you very much. Just sit tight. We're going to have the public hearing, and we'll go from there.
Motion open for public hearing.
It's been moved and second to open the matter for public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've opened for public hearing. I'm going to ask 3 times of the audience if there's anyone in attendance who is in favor of the project, and then after I do so, we'll close that portion of the public hearing, and then we'll ask 3 times if there's anyone opposed to the project. So is there anyone in favor of the project? If you could please just come forward and state your name for the record on the microphone. That's the petitioner. Just state your name again for the record and that you're in favor.
Earl Lawson, project coordinator, Comcast. I am in favor of the project.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in favor of the project? Is there anyone else in favor of the project? Seeing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'll ask 3 times if there's anyone opposed to the project. Is there anyone opposed to the project? Is there anyone opposed to the project? Is there anyone opposed to the project? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The matter is before the council again. It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded for favorable action. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel DeFlorio. Yes. I'm sorry, Counsel De La Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio. Yes. Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Marquez.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano. Counsel Sechetta.
Yes.
Counsel Sani. Yes. Counsel Capone.
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays. Mr.
9 yeas, 0 nays. You have granted the petition. Clerk will read the second item of business, item number 2.
Item number 2, public hearing for all persons interested in the following enrolled ordinance sponsored by Counsel Michael Marquez, it's Section 1, Chapter 8 of the Municipal Code of the City of Everett shall be amended by adding Section 70 as follows: fire hydrant markers.
If I may, technically, the clerk has informed me that this was advertised as a public hearing in error. However, since it's here and people have been notified of it, probably should have a public hearing, so the chair would entertain a motion to open public hearing.
Make a motion, open a public hearing.
It's moved and second, open item number 2, public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so opened. I'm going to ask 3 times from the audience if there's anyone in favor, and then we'll close that portion. We'll ask 3 times anyone opposed, and we'll close that portion of the public hearing. Is there anyone in favor of this piece of business? If there's anyone in favor of this piece of business, is there anyone in favor of this item? Seeing none, that portion is closed. We move to the opposition. Anyone opposed to this piece of business? Anyone opposed to this piece of business? Anyone opposed to this piece of business? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. The matter is before the council. Council Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a question, and I don't know if Counsel Marchese had this when he proposed it. First of all, I think it's a great thing. But I've seen some kids going around, unfortunately, in the city, grabbing them. And I was wondering, is there a fine associated with, if someone's visually caught damaging, breaking into something, destroying city property? Is there a fine associated with, with this?
It's a good point. We could ask the sponsor. Council Marquez, are you aware of any kind of
I
a
didn't
fine
say, I
that's
didn't
attached?
understand the fine.
Or Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, I imagine it would be with destruction of any city property.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It would be the same as destroying any.
Is there, Mr. Clerk, if it's through the President, through you, do you know what that number is, or it's just something
I
that?
imagine it would go to 1-8, non-criminal disposition.
All right, thank you.
It's a good point, Counselor. You notice around the city, they're bent, they're broken. It's unfortunate, because it's an excellent piece, and it's all about public safety. The matter is before,
Yeah, if I may,
Council Marquez.
it's all important is after coming off a winter that we had to have the fire hydrants identified. My concern is also seeing the bent and broken ones, and I think by making it an ordinance that they always have to be marked, whether they're broken, bent, or whatever. So an ordinance makes them pay attention to them. So that's why I believe this is a very good piece for the city, whether it's in the winter, even regular time. I just get a little concerned. Sometimes I see them bent over, and I see people maybe walk into my head with a car. That's one of the issues I see, so until we find out what maybe a better way to put them on, I guess this is the way we're gonna have to, and I just wish that people would leave them alone. It's important for the safety of the people who are living in that area in the event there is a fire.
Thank you, Counselor. On the
Favorable
piece?
action on the order.
It's been moved and second favorable action. Clerk, call the roll.
Counsel De La Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio. Yes. Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Marchese.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sechetta.
Yes.
Counselor Sani?
Yes.
Counselor Capone?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr.
10
President.
yeas, 0 nays, you have ordained. Chair will entertain a motion to open public participation. It's been moved and second to open public participation. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're so opened. Counselor, do you have that list? Okay, thank you, Counselor. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to participate in public participation? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to close public. It's been moved and second to close public participation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second to suspend the rules and take item number 5. Clerk, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The clerk will read item number 5.
Item number 5 is a notice sponsored by Counselor Fred Capone as president to amend zoning ordinance by updating the zoning map to reflect the current zoning districts.
If I may from the chair, and it's whatever the will of the body is, I'm looking at items 4, 5, and 6, and I don't really think they're routine. So I don't know if that's something the folks would want to send to a committee of the whole, or is it something you want to entertain this evening? I'll leave that to the discretion of the body. Counsel DeFleur?
Are they prepared to show us the map? I mean, we don't have to vote on it today.
Whatever the will of the body
If
is.
they're prepared to show us whatever they have,
That's fine.
right. And then we
Counsel,
can,
I'll do the chair.
we can also ask questions 2 weeks from now and then vote on it 2 weeks from now.
Absolutely, whatever the will of the council
So we
is.
can get some information tonight. It gives us 2 weeks to do our research and homework.
Okay.
And we may come up with more questions in 2 more weeks.
Absolutely.
That's
If that's the
my
will of the
feeling, 'cause-
council, we can have
Because
someone,
unfortunately, if it goes to committee, not everybody's on the committee, and I feel that this is a very important
Sure.
piece, and everybody should
I would
be.
second that motion.
so-
Chairman, on the motion?
Counsel Hanlon.
Motion. This map is only reflecting exactly what our current zoning is now. I mean, there's nothing that anyone's gonna tell us, yes or no. The red is Riverfront District. They can't say, well, it's gonna change. This is what it is. They're only putting it in map form so that we can really recognize it rather than it being in written form. So this is nothing more than what we really have right now at this moment, just updating the map, that's all this is.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Sani.
I was gonna make a motion to invite the representatives up to go over the map and discuss for
Absolutely.
us. So I'd like to make a motion on that,
Do we have a second?
invite the guests up.
Second.
It's moved and second to invite whichever representatives from the city are necessary to present this to the council. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Mr. Soper, if you could please come forward. State your name for the
Members of
record.
council, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, my name is Jim Soper, Director of Inspection Services. I'm here tonight with Maria Josephson, who is our GIS coordinator, who works for the planning department. I've been here approximately 3 years, and we need to do something with our zoning map. If you look over here, you'll see the current zoning map we use in our office currently to identify what properties are in what districts. If I may, I'd just like to go over to the sign.
Absolutely.
A little bit, show you the dilemma that we face.
Can't hear them.
Yeah.
Should I walk it right over?
If it's easy enough, otherwise, if you can vocalize, whatever you prefer.
I can speak really loud, or I can speak right into the mic.
All right.
All right, so it's more than just the reds are reds and the blues are blues. What we have here is, there's no delineation of what properties
Excuse me,
fall
excuse me.
into these.
Could you talk into the microphone?
You need to
Because
pick up the
it's
mic.
not us, it's the audience that can't hear you.
These are televised.
You can use the hand one,
Pull it forward.
You could do the Tom Jones look. I don't know how much feet is on that, but
Okay, well, we have the
Excellent, Mr.
situation
Klein.
in which many different properties in this city bridge many of these different zoning districts. And when someone comes in and says, what can I do with my property? I have to identify that property on this map. And this map doesn't clearly identify property boundaries. So we have a GIS coordinator, Maria, who's put together a zoning map that is indicative of this map. Not exactly, but as close as we can do it parcel by parcel. I'll direct your attention up to the screen. Perhaps we could focus in a little bit more. And you'll see some of the dilemmas that we face when we make decisions on who's in what district. We need to clarify this lot by lot. So process has been that Maria and my department have worked very closely on looking where the lines are blurred on this map, where the cutouts of paper are, where the colors are drawn. Try to figure out who's in and who's out. So there might be some parcels of land here that might have been half in and half out. And the reason, and the way Maria did it was ingenious. She took a photo of this and laid it over our GIS satellite map. And of course, these aren't hard to find lines, so she needed to interpolate which ones are in and which ones aren't in. And she did that with the benefit of me on every one of these lots. And in the zoning ordinance, it's my decision. I'm the one who makes the call if you are in this district or out of that district. So I've gone through the whole map, and we've come up with this map. So what I'd like to do with this map is change this into the 2015 zoning map of the city of Everett. And the way you have to officially do that under state law is you announce it at the council sends it over to the planning board for review, up, down, decision, and it comes back for you, to you. So I'd like to start that process in which I go through every parcel that we have to go through with the planning board. And everyone can attend and see how we've made these decisions, and if they have any objections or they want to speak out at these public hearings, they can do so.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions from the floor? Councilor DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to my understanding, Mr. Soper, there are absolutely no changes. This is exactly what the zonings are now, and that's it.
This is exactly how I call this map right now. If you came into me, and you might be halfway up Pleasant View right here, and I don't know how many feet that relates to, but I'm going to make the call if you're a business or if you're in a dwelling district. That's my call. So I've gone around and made my calls right around the city completely. So any new developers that come into our city, anybody who wants to build anything, can easily go online, check this out, and inside this, they'll be able to tell which district they're in, go right to the uses that are allowed, go right to the zoning setback requirements. So it makes it easier for developers to understand what they can and they can't do. So right now,
That was
This
gonna be
is-
my next question, if this was gonna be online.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none? Well, Jeff, Council Mangan?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. If there are no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion to excuse customary thanks.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second to excuse customary thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
thank you, Council.
With the piece, I guess the proper motion would be to refer this to the planning board. Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved and second to refer item number 5 to the planning board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're so referred.
Thank you.
The clerk will resume regular business. Item number 3.
Number 8 and 12,
We have folks in the audience for 8 and 12?
suspend rules and please take items 8 and 12 off the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and second to suspend the rules and take items 8 and 12 collectively. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're so moved. The clerk will read items number 8 and 12.
Item number 8 is resolution sponsored by Councilor Rosa DeFlorio. The administration consider looking into buying a snow melting machine in the city of Everett. Item number 12, resolution sponsored by Councilor Richard Del Solo and Councilor Peter Napolitano. DPW Director Jerry Navarro appear next meeting of City Council to speak about the plans for the new sidewalk upkeep.
Councilors, what's your pleasure?
Can we invite
Mr.
the,
Navarro.
Jerry Navarro up, please, Mr. Navarro?
If we could please have DPW Director Jerry Navarro before us. Mr. Navarro, thank you very much. If you please just introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, Jerry Navarro, DPW Director.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Mr. Navarro, in regards to the snow melting machine, I know we had a terrible winter and that may never happen again, but we don't know. And I think it would be useful, so I guess you were gonna do some studies
We did some study, and on the low end, it would probably run around $300,000 for the lowest cost, and the smaller one, and they run upwards to $1 million. The second part of it, it runs about 300 to 400 gallons per hour to run, and also we'd need an operator. And lastly, it would be where we would discharge the water. We'd have to get permission on exactly where to discharge the melting snow. So those are the issues, and like I said, we had unsurmountable amount of snow, and we might be going through seasons, 2-3 seasons at a time where we wouldn't utilize it. So I think it would be beneficial not to purchase it.
Okay. But if we do have another season like this, would the machine pay for itself?
I think it would pay for itself, and if we could maybe get some other communities to use it as well, that would definitely pay off.
Right. Because the machine costs $300,000, I understand it costs a lot of money to run this machine, plus you need an operator. But how much did it cost to haul all that snow all winter long? That was each truck, how much was it per truckload for you to haul that snow?
It was cheaper to haul it than to melt it, actually.
It was cheaper to haul it than to melt it?
We figured it would cost over $250,000 to melt all the snow in Florence Street Park, and when we hauled it out, it cost about $118,000. So it was almost double.
But you had to move that snow twice. You moved it once from the street to Swan Street,
Right.
Florence Street, and then you had to move it from Florence Street back. So, and that was $118,000?
No, just hauling it one time out.
Just one time? Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilor Napolitano.
Thank you. Part of my question, I think you answered. So you estimated that operating that in a like-type winter, we're talking about $250,000 in just fuel costs, potential maintenance?
Roughly.
Man-hours? to
Man
operate the
hours.
equipment? Okay, and it's a lot less, well, the equipment doesn't run itself. But there's still the cost of hauling the snow from point A to point B, because it still has to get to wherever the equipment is, correct?
Correct.
All right, so
So the hauling aspect would always take place anyways, getting it from A to B to the snow melter anyway, so.
right, so we're not really saving money by having this, though it'd be a nice tool to have.
It would definitely be a nice tool to have.
But the bigger picture is, it'll take cost us a lot more money than the old-fashioned way.
Right, and
So-
if we can get other communities to buy in and want to bring the snow to us and charge them at a rate, obviously we could benefit.
Does that increase our exposure for getting permission to where we put that
I
water?
think it would help. I mean, we got permission from EPA last year to dump it over a preferred freezer, which immensely helped us to get the snow out of there. Because, I mean, just dumping it, pushing it into the water was easy than putting it in, hauling it back, pushing it up. Took a lot of time and work.
What's the cost involved in maintaining the equipment during the off-season, or during a light winter where it doesn't get called into service? Like any heavy equipment, you can't just let it sit for a couple of years and then pick it up like...
Correct. I don't have the correct dollar fees of, the maintenance of it, though.
But there would be an additional
absolute-
cost involved
yes.
to that, so
Right.
it's not, we have a light snow, it's not like it's not gonna cost us as...
Correct.
It's not gonna cost us as much as running it, but it's still gonna be a cost to it.
I would think it'd probably revert like back to the street sweeper. Like, we paid $230,000 for a street sweeper, then something breaks down and it's gonna cost us $40,000, $50,000 for maintenance. So I think it's kind of falls in the same line as that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Marquez.
Jerry, you gave a number, says $118,000 to haul it out. That was that one particular?
That one particular load,
particular
right. And
place.
we tried to figure if we took that snow in Florence Street Park and we had a snow melter, it would've cost us over $250,000.
It cost $250,000. But the issue was, it's getting rid of the snow as far as melting the excess snow that was on the ground. That's, instead of just hauling it, last year. And there's gotta be an upside to this summer, even though it is expensive. A city like Everett gets congested very hard with snow, and it's hard to, maneuver cars through the city. It's worth looking at, I believe. It's expensive to run, but, if we have a winter like last winter, it'll be a great idea, but if we have a lousy one, it'll be a very inexpensive piece of property that you have to sit down the yard and maintain another year.
Councilor Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Navarro, you had mentioned that if the snow was melted, we'd have to get rid of the water somewhere?
Correct.
And that would be, I would imagine, in a storm drain? Would
I'd
we-
have to get permission because obviously all the salt and the chemicals that are mixed in with the
Okay, that's what I
snow.
wanted to ask. Who would you have to ask, MWRA?
Probably the EPA, DEP.
Okay, all right. And the second question I had, you mentioned that perhaps another community could use this? If another community were gonna use it, would you have an idea of what we would charge them for using it?
I don't have a dollar rate what we charge per hour, but
Okay.
I would assume it pretty high.
Okay, we're gonna probably think about this for a while. Could you sort of
I
get
love
that
new
figured
toys,
out
so
in
if
a
you
rough
guys are
figure?
willing to prove it right now, we'll purchase it right now.
So, if you would, all right?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Councilor
Chairman.
Delasola.
I'm just echoing the words of my former colleague, my colleagues here. Sorry, John.
It's
You know
the
something,
anniversary thing, Rich. It's the anniversary thing.
Yeah. I'm leaving, yeah. It's a great idea. Let's see this winter what happens, because the prices, you know, are probably going up now. After the winter we just had, if you have a business that's selling them, you know they skyrocket their
Right.
price up on all these units, from the small one that we may get to the larger one, so.
Correct.
It's a great idea. Let's just keep this on the back burner and see what happens.
I agree.
This coming winter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor DeFleur, did you have another comment?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jerry, the machine that I saw, okay, basically, I mean, I don't know if it's a snow melting machine. I know that's what I have here, right? I saw a machine online where it basically plowed, it went on the plow truck. And as the truck was plowing, it would melt it. And then there was sand and soft after it.
I'd like to see that. I haven't seen that online, no.
Is it the Canadian one?
Yeah,
Council.
the Canadian one.
We can look into it. We can definitely look into it.
Council, any other?
But, I mean, I understand your point that it is expensive, okay? But I believe that it would, in my thing, I know it's a hit or miss, okay? It's a gamble, unfortunately.
Right.
Because we can't control the weather. That's the unfortunate part.
Correct.
So to me, I think in the long run, it would save money. If we had more storms like last year, 2 seasons in a row, I think the machine would pay.
I think
for
we'd have to do a little bit more
But if we
digging.
don't, then we don't. As far as just saying, like, as far as the street cleanings go, we have to maintain the street cleaners. When our guys did it, they did a fantastic job. This year, our machines were broken. I got a lot of complaints. You subbed it out. When we subbed it out, those machines broke too, and they didn't bother coming back to clean it. So our guys still had to go out and do it by hand.
Are we talking about street sweeping or the snow melting machine?
Well, street sweeping, I'm just saying, well, you just said.
To know which way we
You
were
just
going.
said the street sweepers we have
Me
to
neither.
maintain also. So, because you said the street sweepers we have to maintain also, I'm trying to bring out a point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, thank you.
Council Sadi.
Thank you. I know, Council DeFleur was talking about a truck, and I know one of them I saw was going down and it snowblowed into another truck.
Correct.
And this way it didn't go onto the sidewalks, and that's what they used on the main roads.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that's what she maybe saw.
Well, that
or-
doesn't melt it, that just.
Just puts it into the truck immediately
Correct.
versus us snow blowing it, pushing it to the side and
Right.
then going back.
That's
So-
another nice piece of equipment.
Yeah, okay,
I'll put it there in next year's budget.
okay.
Any other questions on this item?
And we'd
Okay.
be excused the customary thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Director, thank you very much.
Number 12?
If you just
Sure.
sit tight, we'll come back to number 12. With this particular piece of business, what's the pleasure? Number 8. Moved and seconded, refer back to sponsor. All in favor? Opposed? Guys have it. Item number 12 is before you. We have the director here. Are there any questions on item number 12? Council Del Sol?
Yes, I did talk to the director last week about the sidewalks. He did look into different locations that were damaged. What's happening is the corner sidewalks are being damaged by the garbage trucks. That's cracking and crumbling. It's only made, the sidewalks are only made to walk on and drive across with your car. When a truck hits it, like on Prescott Street, Evelyn Court, they come out of the court and bear left over the sidewalk because the way some of the cars are parked at certain times. There's nothing you can do to stop it. If it's a year old or 3 years old, it's gonna crack and crumble. This is the issue that's happening in the corner units. The other ones, I know we have a 1-year warranty on this. After 1 year, it's our dime, which is, kind of crazy. That's the way the contract's written up. But I can let the director speak. I think we have a list of areas that were damaged, and it's either whoever put the sidewalks in will have to go back and repair it, or if it's after the 1-year warranty, then we'd have to go back and repair it. So like the,
Mr. Director?
I put a memo in all your mailboxes about the recent street projects. Those are some of the area sidewalks where we have some problems. Just for your information, like WCR's wheelchair ramps, just to give you a quick update. HLC is a hairline crack. NIC is not in contract. WC is a wide crack, an eighth of an inch or wider. And HV is heavy vehicles, and HO is a house. Now, like, to amend what Mr. Del Sol said, is we have some areas, we've put 7 inches of concrete on these dead-end private ways, And it doesn't matter how much concrete we pour there, over time, the trucks have no way to get out of there, so they're gonna come over the sidewalks over a period of time, they're eventually gonna crack. There is no solution. If someone has one, please bring it to us. We'd love to implement it as soon as possible, but those tight, narrow, dead ends in private ways, those garbage trucks have no other way to get out of there but to roll over the sidewalks when cars are parked in certain areas.
Thank you. Counsel McKinnon.
Sorry, I was just looking over the list. I think I requested something like this.
Something like that, yeah, and a lot of stuff comes on ClickFix, and currently this month, just to bring your attention, we're in a contest with Malden, City of Malden with ClickFix of cases coming in and the turnaround and closing them out, resolving them. So we're in a contest with that. I can get you a list from ClickFix as well. I think it's a great tool for the city. Everything that comes in, any issues, we try to address it immediately and close them out immediately in a timely fashion. I think the residents love it. We like it because we can't see and hear everything out in the street. I think it's a great tool for the city.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome if we could we get a list of anything from Quick Fix that's coming in
Yes,
as well? All right,
absolutely.
That would be great if we could have it in front of us as well. This is good. This is what I requested, I believe, the last meeting, so I want to thank you for that.
That's from our consultants on the street who go back and, review the work that's done.
I have another piece on for later. I don't know if you're going to be around for it or not, but it was something of like the same area of what was going on, but I don't see it on this list, but I'll bring it to your attention. All right, thank you.
Counsel Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a place in Vermont, and I have a building. It's 1 foot above the ground level, and it goes out about 5 feet. And when they built it, they put a lot of re-rod into it. It's been about 6 years. We haven't had a chip of cement off of that. Would it be possible to put re-rod in like driveways and on corners? I mean,
They
would that-
have
would that-
put the rebar in there, yes.
Okay, and they're still cracking up and everything? Just a thought, thank you.
Counsel Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Navarro, I was talking to a gentleman about 2 weeks ago, and he had told me that he managed properties for the Burger King Corporation, and he said that originally the salt caused a lot more damage than calcium chloride. Now, I know it's more expensive to get it, but what I've been told through this gentleman, again, I'm not an expert, I'm just taking his word for it, he said that it doesn't cause the little pits.
Correct.
All right, so do you know what the difference would be between, in terms of, how much of a difference would be between the salt and then the,
I can get you that dollar figure.
I appreciate that.
But that doesn't stop the residents from throwing it on their own sidewalks,
That's true too. Okay, thank you.
which happens a lot. That's what the spalling is on there. That's just chips of the concrete coming up from people using rock salt from Home Depot, and it damages the sidewalk immediately, so.
The other thing too, though, was maybe, is it possible, maybe even down the city yard somewhere, even for a nominal fee, would the city be able to, like, store it somewhere down where someone wanted to come down? Let's say you had to pay, because you gotta go to the store and buy the stuff anyways. Would it make sense for the city to have it, and then the residents could go down, pay a nominal fee to maybe, if it was calcium chloride, to take that, bring it home in a bucket or whatever, a bag, however they wanted to bring it back to their property. So everybody, for the most part, could use, especially because if it was at a nominal fee, then the residents can afford it instead of going to Home Depot or these other places and buying bags of salt. Is that something that we could possibly?
I know you currently know we have the buckets of salt out in the road, certain areas
Right,
that
those-
the residents utilize that. Charging a fee, I don't know if that's something that was gonna go over well with the residents.
Well, what I'm saying is that they're gonna go, like, for myself, like, for instance, when the late fall comes, I go to Home Depot and I get a few bags of it, and it sits on my front porch, or I pour it in buckets. So what I'm saying is that I don't know really how many people actually go to the barrels and take the stuff out of it.
Quite a bit.
All right, then it's possible then, is it possible to put calcium chloride in those barrels, or is that not?
I would have to see the cost difference between the salt and the calcium chloride.
Okay, all right,
Something we'd definitely look into.
Thank you.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to the sidewalks cracking, unfortunately, they've taken a lot of chemicals out of the cement. So today, the cement is not as strong as it used to be years ago. So I
Correct.
know, because I was in the business, and I know that that's one of the main reasons. But when you purchase cement to do the sidewalks, you order it, is that
Correct.
correct? It's
Right.
like you're not getting it at the end of the day when
No.
it's the leftovers or?
Nope, first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning. when the contractors are doing the job, are you checking to see if they're buying the cement first thing in the morning?
Our
or
consultants are there
They're there?
inspecting,
Okay.
correct.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Napolitano.
Thank you. I want to preface this that, first of all, I want to thank you for dealing with some sidewalk safety issues down on Chelsea Street and now currently on Green Street. I did drive by Green and saw the workhorse up there. And the residents are happy because they felt that they've been asking about it and it's getting done. Having said that, though, I mean, I'm looking at the list here, and I honestly, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I'm kind of disappointed.
What, Cottage?
Cottage. From the intersection of Cottage and Ferry to the intersection of Mead Street and Cottage, the sidewalks were done 4 years ago. For the last 3 years, I've been through the city council trying to get the damage to those sidewalks repaired. The Board of Aldermen, we spoke before the Board of Aldermen last session, and they sent a request to city services to repair that sidewalk. Nothing's happened. As a city councilor, coming back, I'm here this session, I requested it to get done a year ago. Nothing's happened. Last April, signs were put up on our neighborhood telling us that on April 13th, April 14th, the sidewalks would be repaired. Nothing's happened. Now, I've got residents on that block that are asking me why I can't get the sidewalks fixed in our neighborhood while I'm professing to get work done in other neighborhoods, okay? They're not stupid. Those that watch the meeting see what I'm trying to do here to get it done, and in their opinion, it's falling on deaf ears. I'll be perfectly honest with you, as a taxpayer, I'm getting pretty sick and tired of it. You know, I shouldn't have to take 3 years being an elected official to get a block worth of damage on a sidewalk that's less than 4 years old, that's got to be, 40% of the sidewalk has to be replaced. I shouldn't have to be sitting up here spinning my wheels. Committee, the council took this on a committee meeting not more than 4 months ago. We're still no closer. Now, if I'd seen it on the list here, I'd at least have some feeling that it's being acknowledged.
Now, the street was done in 2012?
It was done 4 years ago, and for the last 3 years, we've been trying to get the damage that cracked the following spring repaired. Now, I know part of the problem is the contractors did not do they laid the cement late in the season, and that's part of the problem. But for 3 years, a request from the Board of Aldermen, a request from the City Council, a committee meeting, and even a false expectation that it would be done.
How many flags are we talking, Peter?
We're talking 40% of the block between Cottage Street and Mead Street on the odd-numbered side.
Okay.
That's not counting additional damage that's on the even side. I mean,
I'd be more than happy to come out there and inspect it with you.
please, because, you know, the thing is that the residents aren't stupid. They, you know, it's gone past the point of them questioning whether I'm trying to get it done, to the point where that they're aware of what I'm trying to get done, and the fact that it's falling on deaf ears.
Well, it's
And I
not
don't
falling, it's
want
not
them to
falling on
feel-
my deaf ears. I'll be more than happy to
I'm not accusing
rectify the
Jerry.
situation.
I appreciate the work you've done, and I know that you have not, your involvement in this has been very marginal compared to how long this has been going on. But the bottom line is, and I had no intention of speaking on this like this, but if I'd seen it at least on the radar, I'd feel more comfortable. Right now, the expectation is that I'm just talking to myself, and I'm hoping that's, and I don't.
I'm listening.
You and I have
I'm
spoken
listening.
about it, but it needs to get done. These people that are living on that block are just as much taxpayers anywhere else in the city. You know, we waited long enough to get our sidewalks done, and they're crap. We need to get them done right.
Whenever you want to give me a call, I'll be more than happy to meet you out there.
Okay.
And we'll inspect it together.
That'll be fine.
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Council McKinnon.
Through you, Mr. President. Jerry, on that, let's get back to the quick pick, what is it, quick pick?
Click fix.
Quick fix, that's right. I called it the wrong thing, I'm sorry, but,
Lottery, quick.
is there any way that you can give like an overview to just the residents that are now, like, what they have to do, just take a picture and then?
Take a picture, go online and send it. We
Send
get
it-
it, we
send
get
it where, though?
to Click Fix. It's right on the website, the city's website.
Okay, so they can just go to the website and then take the picture and then send it there?
Yeah.
A lot of residents don't know, because
And
I
I-
talked to one in particular, they said, they call it quick pick too, so
Yeah.
I was like.
Well, I get them all hours of the night, too.
All right, no,
So-
I hear you, just so that they know, so it's on the website.
On the
they can do
website.
it, They just take a picture, they submit it, and then it should be.
Correct. It's in the system, and then we try to resolve it as soon as we can.
And then we'll have a report back.
Correct.
In a timely fashion.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Oh, hold on one second. Counsel Sachetta.
While Jerry Navarro's here, item number 17 has, I'm asking for something.
Okay, so let's put a pin in that for 1 second. With regards to this, Mr. Navarro, if you'd probably just sit tight. With this particular piece, item number 12, what's the pleasure of the council?
I'm gonna actually,
Refer back
If
to
you've heard us,
sponsor.
I'm gonna actually have, our consultants, Ty and Bond, wanna speak on that issue of Tremont Street.
Okay, so with item number 12, what's the
back to
pleasure?
sponsor, please.
Is there a second? Second. Moved and second to refer item number 12 back to sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You so referred. Counsel Sachetta? Now, what was your motion, Counsel Sachetta?
Yes, I'd like to take item number 17, please.
Okay. So it's, is there a second on that?
I believe we have to do the
Counsel?
old first because.
No,
no.
it's the will of the council. You can do anything you want.
I'll second that.
But
Second on
under,
seven.
under
It's
the
been-
new charter, aren't you supposed to give the
No.
questions in writing?
No. Well, 7 days notice. However, if the individual is present, they can either answer it, or they could say, I need more information, and they could, at that point, request more time. But the motion before the council has been moved and second, suspend the rules, take item number 17. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're so moved. Clerk will read item number 17.
Item number 17, resolution sponsored by Council Salvatore Sachetta. I wish to have the head of the Health Department or City Services Department to discuss flooding of the Tremont Street area that have been bad, but since the new apartment houses have been built, it has gotten much worse, and in many cases, the houses in that area have had many problems with basement and yard flooding, in some cases above the stairways into home. The bad rainstorm we had on September 30th was so bad the cars could not travel through the flooded area.
Counsel Sachetta.
Yes, I don't know who's going to be here from City Hall to answer it. Is there anyone?
Mr.
Well,
Navarro.
I just want to make one comment on the,
Absolutely, Mr. Navarro.
they referred to the storm on September 30th. I mean, everyone realized we did get about 4 inches of rain in a 2-hour span. So there was flooding, not just there, everywhere. It wasn't, one of those 100-year storms, you get 4 inches of rain in 2 hours. The capacity could not handle it. So I don't know about the issues being worse than before. I don't think it is, but I'd like to relay this to Ty and Bond, who can speak more clearly on this issue.
Well, I'd like to read a letter that I received from the person that lives on Elton Street.
Okay.
The only house on the street. And I've also heard from people that said they drove down Prescott Street, they couldn't take a left on Prescott Street because the cars couldn't get through. Let me read this.
If we may, we'll get right back to that. And I'm assuming that individual's not here this evening.
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions for the director while he's here on this piece? Okay. Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to excuse customary thanks with this regard to this particular piece. Thank you, Mr. Devaney.
Thank you. Good evening.
On the piece, Counsel Sachetta.
Yes. I'd like to have your indulgence in the fact that I want to read this letter, email that I received from the person that lives on Elton Street. I am writing to you in regards to the massive flooding that happens in front of my and around my house. I live in the corner of Tremont and Elton Street. I've been here for 16 years, come November 1st. As I am sure you are aware, the area is known to flood when there are heavy rains due to damaged drainage system in the area. Ever since this new building has been constructed, the flooding has been worse than ever. My yard is all torn up and the street is a mess. The ground around the manhole cover on the corner of Tremont and Elder Street is now torn up from the ground and most definite a hazard. Someone is going to get hurt. The water gets as high as the 3rd step of my front porch and goes all the way around to the inside of my driveway, leaving all kinds of debris, including needles and feces. It is disgusting and a health hazard. There are children in the neighborhood that I think it is okay to walk through this filth. There are kids, so they see a very large water body, and they think it's okay to swim around it. We've tried to get something done numerous times over the years, and nobody will listen. Please, I ask that you look into a solution to this problem. We are told it is drainage, and it's too much money to fix it. But when the kids start getting sick or poked with some random needle floating around, it's going to be a bigger issue. Our house is being destroyed by water and is unacceptable. We are continuously pumping water from the basement and to have to worry about mold forming. We also have a child we need to worry about. We have to inspect our yard all the time to be sure it's safe for him to play because of all the debris that washes up. I have many photos and videos documenting all of the drainage and the flooding while the rain is coming down. I could submit them to you at your request. This is a constant issue and we need to get it fixed. Now, I've driven there on numerous occasions when there's no water there, and it's a complete mess. Believe me when I tell you, there's equipment there, there's mud there, there's trailers there, there's whatever, but it is not a safe place to be. Thank you.
Counsel, what's your pleasure with the piece? Would you want to lay this over to the next meeting? and
Well,
request
yeah,
a representative?
who am I gonna get? Did he say I was gonna get?
Or committee, whichever.
Yes, I would like to have it laid over until the next meeting.
Counsel Della Sola.
I'm gonna second that also. I get on visit my parents on Prescott Street, and for some reason, they're always pumping water into the catch basin at the bottom of Prescott Street, which is, the catch basin's on Tremont. Like a day like today, if there's no rain at all, they're pumping, I don't think that's even legal to pump the water into the catch basins like they're doing. So, like Councilor Sachetta said, I think we have to have somebody up here that knows the drain system, and if people have other letters they want to email all of us and complaints that they had, because I don't know if there was ever flooding down there before this was built. Now this is happening, it's like I said, it's getting worse.
And I agree with you, they have been pumping water into that sewer for about 3 or 4 months.
Correct,
And I don't know that that's legal.
correct.
Counsel Sani.
Thank you. I do know they've had problems down there before, because from Baldwin Ave, a friend of mine called, and they went down and looked in the water. There's a stream going down underneath the ground also. So when the stream's running in the heavy rains, it makes it worse. And now with the new building, I also did get calls regarding the flooding down there. So we do need to find out what to do to resolve the issue. To have this continuing and getting worse is not good for health reasons also for the homes down there. Thank you.
Counsel Hanlon.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'd like to second the motion to refer to table this for the next meeting. But in the meantime, I would like us to contact the Department of Public Works regarding the manhole cover that seems to be damaged. And if it is, it should be repaired immediately, because I know there's a lot of vehicles drive down there and there's people that walk down there, and I don't want to see anybody getting hurt or disappear if the place is underwater. So get that manhole cover fixed immediately. And that's all I want to say.
Counsel McKinnon.
If we're gonna be having someone come in and testify before us at the next meeting, or whichever way it's going to go, if it goes into committee or the next meeting, what I'd like to know is what they did to actually either figure out or what size of the drainage pipes they utilized to make sure that this was going to be free-flowing out of that area, because obviously there's a drainage problem there, and it's not able to it's not capable of, or it's overcoming, every time it rains, it's overcoming the drainage systems that's already in place. What size drains were put in, we need to know all this information down there, and someone needs to be technical about it to actually explain that to us, to see if it was done properly, because if it was not done properly, then that's a problem. We need to bring those people back to get it done properly, so that these people down there can get some type of relief.
Counsel Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Council Della Sola. I believe he said that someone off of Prescott Street was pumping, was that correct, pumping water into Tremont Street?
Counsel.
If you could explain
No, they
who's
were-
doing it?
It was coming from Waters Ave project. They were pumping there, the hose going down Tremont Street to the catch basin as if you were gonna go into 7 Acre Park. They have the catch basin cover off and the hose hanging down in the catch basin.
All right.
So I can imagine what's in that catch basin now with all the mud and they pumped out. So something, I mean, this place ain't even open yet. Wait till the people live in these units and you have a flood like that again, it's gonna be worse damage.
So, Mr. President, through you,
Council Mangan, you have the floor.
thank you. What I'd like to see then is to have, I mean, whether it's Mr. Soper or Mr. La Rivera go down there tomorrow, I mean, and if they are doing this, I mean, like, at least to have them, you know, get this thing corrected, because if they're doing something illegally and dumping it in where they're not supposed to be, that certainly should be corrected right away, so.
No, absolutely. From the chair, it seems like
if you
there's
wanna come
quite a
back.
bit of discussion to be had on this. I would say, whatever the will of the council is, we could refer it to our next meeting. You could set it up in a committee. You could make a committee of the whole if there's enough interest in it. But it does sound like this issue itself is probably going to be kind of involved. But I would leave that up to the body.
I agree.
Councilor Florio.
I also believe that this is very, very involved. And on our council meeting, we're supposed to be doing business. So some things we can resolve right away, and some things we can't. Where this is so involved, you have a lot of people, you should have an engineer come. There's a lot of people that should be invited to something like this. Because if there's a river flowing under there, we're not experts, okay? This needs to be looked at once and for all. This has been going on for years. I mean, right now, they're blaming the building. But this is something that's been going on for years. So I believe that this should be resolved once and for all. You have to invite the right people. So you either, like you said, you either do a committee as a whole, or you go to a committee and invite everybody. So everybody can hear what's going on. Give everybody the questions in writing so they can also look into it. I mean, some people are over here tonight, yes. Are they able to answer these questions? Are they gonna be able to answer them 2 weeks if they don't know what we're looking for? So my recommendation is it goes into committee. This is really intense, and to spend 2 or 3 hours at a regular meeting, I don't think it's the right thing to do. That's my opinion. It's up to the sponsor.
Councilor Napolitano.
I tend to agree with Council DeFlorio on this. I mean, there is a lot of discussion on this that's going to be very involved. Obviously, they're aware now that we have concerns and that this is a bigger issue. Let's give them an opportunity to get their ducks in row, so when we come up and for us also to get a little more investigated, you know, in this matter. So this way we can get this issue resolved. You know, I went to the majority of the planning board meetings for the project. You know, drainage, water, these were all some of the big concerns in this neighborhood consistently at each meeting. So obviously, if we're still having problems down there, and we haven't even opened the site yet, then, you know, we need to get ahead of this. So I would agree to either send this to committee or a committee of the whole, and let's get the experts up here and get some detailed information. Give them more opportunity to have all the facts.
I would second that.
Councilor McKinnon.
Through you, Mr. President, I know that Councilman Sachetta has been dealing with this for a long period of time. I know that this has been an issue down there because I've talked to certain individuals that live down there. I've talked to individuals that may have actually worked or something to that effect on this project. So what we need to do is, I think we need to get as much responsible information as possible to determine what is going on down there. And the only way we could do it is possibly do committee as a whole, or put it into a committee so that we can get this done. We shouldn't belabor it any longer here. I think we should just send it where it has to go and then work on it. I think Councilman Sachetta has brought up some great points. There's other great points that need to actually be brought up, such as the drainage size. I want to know technical questions from this corporation that put this in to find out if we can actually have the right type of drainage that's down there. That's, I mean, no one here can answer them questions right now, I don't believe. So that's going to be the questions that I have.
I
It's gonna be
second.
Councilor Mangan.
Council, a second, oh, I thought you did, I'm sorry. Well, I make the motion as long as it's fine with Council Sachetta that we send it to a committee in the
Peace,
whole.
let them make the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to refer to the committee on the whole. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. And
It's up to you then.
Is there any debate on the piece?
Got a motion, he says.
Is there any debate? Council Sechetta?
I'm opposed to sending it to committee because I want this taken care of right away. If it goes to committee, it's gotta come back to us, and then we're gonna have the same thing happen. They know what the story is. Let them take care of it and come back to me and report that it's corrected or whatever. But why go to committee, then back and back? Let's take care of this matter. These people are living under bad circumstances.
So to withdraw the,
So, Counselor, you would request that we refer this to the DPW Director, Code Enforcement?
The next
Have them
meeting,
look
yeah.
into it and get back to us at the next meeting?
Right.
Second, yeah.
Okay. And if I may, from the chair too, there were two items that were raised. One was by Counselor Hanlon with regards to a manhole, and then there was the issue raised by Counselor Della Sola about potential illegal dumping. We could incorporate that into the motion too. I think that would be a good thing.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Moving second. Counsel McKinnon.
Also, Mr. President, I would like to know the diameters of everything that was put into there to actually do this drainage, to see if it was done properly. That's what, I mean, we need to find out. So I would like to know if the proper size tubing, piping, whatever they're going to call it, was put in there for a project that size, and then to compensate for the rest of the surrounding area around it. Those are the technical questions that we need answers, so hopefully we can get something to that effect. If we need more information, and if we have to, can we email you the questions that we would like asked, and then you could further them out to the individuals at hand?
If you wish, we can refer them to the clerk, and he could put it in his communication, whatever the will of the body is. Counsel Mangan, I think you had your hand up?
I'll give them to Mike tonight by the end of the meeting.
Okay. Any other discussion on this matter, councilors? Any other discussion on this matter? Okay, the motion that's been made and before, councilors, the motion that is before us has been made and second to refer this to the DPW and to code enforcement to request that they investigate the circumstances down at that area. Also, to have them address the potential of manhole issue in the area and potential illegal dumping. And among other questions that will be submitted is to inquire about diameter size. Did I catch everything? Counsel Hanlon? I'm only human, so if there's something I missed, by all means, pull it out.
Could we ask Councilor Sechetta to include that letter with this, so that they will also be able to see that letter?
Absolutely, if
Okay,
that's
and
the
let
wish
them
of the
act on
council.
that? Yes.
And further amended so that the letter that was provided to Councilor Sechetta will be forwarded
Give
as
it that
well.
to our clerk.
Do we have that in form of a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
And seconded.
It's been moved and second to refer this matter to DPW, code enforcement, with lists of questions to be submitted, in addition to addressing the issues of the manhole and potential illegal dumping. All in favor? With the request at our next meeting. Report back at our next meeting. All in favor? All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will revert to item number 3.
I have a sign-in sheet, Mr. Chairman.
Counsel Mangan, I'm sorry, you did say you had something. Absolutely, Counsel Mangan.
Thank you. It's just been brought to my attention, and I was actually thought about this earlier, but I wasn't sure, but just being brought to my attention that tonight, before we leave it tonight, this is Chief of Staff Melissa Rodriguez's last night with us. So before we leave and we get out of here, I just want to mention and thank her for all that she's done for the city. She's going to be truly missed. And I wish her best of well going forward in her future endeavors. And like I said, she's been wonderful, ever so professional, and we're going to miss you, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you, Counselor. That's yeah. Excellent point, Counsel. We do wish you well. Their gain is our loss. We are going to miss you. Thank you for everything you've done. Counsel DeFlora, you said that there were some folks in the audience?
I have a sign-in sheet, and the next item, please suspend the rule and take item number 13.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules and take item number 13. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so moved. Clerk will read item number 13.
Item number 13, resolution sponsored by Council DeFlorio and Council Sani to have the Water Enterprise and Mayor look into putting a second meter for gardening.
Counsel DeFlora.
Yes, we have Ernie, I'm sorry, what's the last name? I never
Mr.
said-
Laravere. Would we please
Laravere.
have Mr. Laravere before us?
I know, I can't pronounce names unless,
Mr. LaRiviere, if you could please introduce yourself, and whomever else you think might be helpful to the council, by all means, come forward. Please introduce yourselves for the record.
Ernie LaRiviere, Water Superintendent.
Ralph Renzulli, Assistant Water Superintendent.
Thank you, gentlemen. Council DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, the water bill is very, very high in Everett, but not so much the water bill. The sewer bill is 3 times more. And we always talk about green space. We want green space, we want parks, we want this. I'm ready to cement my front yard, because I can't afford the sewage anymore. I mean, if I put grass and I put flowers, I have to water it. So that's very unfair, and I feel that I shouldn't be paying for that sewage, not just myself, not just I should say we, the citizens of Everett. And a lot of people feel that way, that they just want to cement their front yard. So they don't want to plant flowers anymore. So my thinking in Council Sani was that we could add an extra meter just for watering the garden. And I understand that years ago they had those, and unfortunately, some people ruined it for everybody because they connected their regular water to that meter. Now, if we do something like this, number one, we have everything computerized now. Number two, if I ever decided, me or anybody else in the city of Everett decided to put this meter in, it would be with the understanding that anybody could go look in their home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to control, to see that if they're not using it for anything else. We could also put a fine to it. If we catch you, it's a $5,000 fine. If you tamper with that meter, we can fine you. But I really believe that it should be something that we should look into.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, and it does, like I said, it does sound like a good program that a lot of communities have. You know, I believe they're listed. I don't know. I believe last meeting there was a memo on this, and some of the communities were listed that do have them. Revere, they had a meter somewhat similar to what Everett had a few years back, and they have had immense issues with finding that meter in all different places. And in the water, people are they're putting it on their washing machine, they're putting it there, here, and there, and it's turning into kind of an issue for them, from what we've kind of gathered from them. Medford only uses it for sprinkler systems. Both Melrose and Stoneham both do have it. In both cases, they've had them for a while, and then they got rid of them for a little while, and now they're back. Because of the issues, they wanted water conservation, and also there were a little bit of revenue issues. I know Stoneham had a lot of issues with revenue and having to raise the rates to make up for the revenue they're losing. And then there's some towns that don't have it, such as Somerville, Reading, Malden, and they have a lot of the concerns that this water department also has about getting them as well. Reading was a conservation. Malden was more of an issue with, they were worried about the revenue, and the reasons for that is the MWRA, the way they bill us isn't just on flow. It's on what's in the water. All the solids that are in the water, the population. So it's what they bill us isn't going to change. So if it's coming, if we're not getting billing for this water, we're going to have to make up for it somehow, and most likely it would be a raise in the rates if we do put this second meter in. I'm not saying but that's kind of what we gathered from other towns. And from just researching it ourselves, there's a few studies here. I believe Newton, Newburyport.
It's the sewer rate that will be raised.
Yeah, the sewer rate, excuse me.
Make sure that's clear.
Yeah, just to make up for that, because we have to get to our budget somehow. And unfortunately.
But if this MWRA, not for anything, all due respect, if this MWRA continues to raise the rates, it's going to be higher than our tax bill. I mean, we're going to get to a point where we're going to really need code enforcement. We won't be able to take baths or wash our clothes or water the lawns anymore. I mean, it's getting out of control. It really is. The water bill is totally out of control. Everybody complains about that. To every door you go in Everett, they don't complain about the tax bill. They complain about the water bill.
No,
We should look into conserving more water. 'Cause
How?
The more water we use, the sewer goes up even higher.
But how do you tell the people in Everett to save on to conserve on water? What would the clues that you would give our constituents
Well-
to say, this is the list on how you save on water?
We can conserve rainwater to
I
garden.
do that. Believe it or not, I do that.
You do that, okay.
But I
The
can't-
people who do that, conserve water, they will be affected by the second meter, because the sewer rate will go up, because we have to cover that sewer assessment. And the people who are conserving are gonna say, why am I doing this? I'm getting,
But what
the whole
happens is,
community as a whole is gonna have to come up with this.
right, but the point I'm trying to say is, yes, you can water the garden with the rainwater, but you can't water the lawn, a big lawn, with rainwater. It's impossible. You've got to keep the grass green, the flowers, whatever.
There's not that much green in Everett.
No, there's gonna be even less.
Yeah. I have less, I have none.
At this point, it's gonna be even less. So, how about a three-tier water? Is there a three-tier water bill that we can do, different?
Well, we get a sewer assessment every year. This year's sewer is $7.8 million for the sewer. The water is 4.6.
Now, the other question I have is, I don't know if you know the answer to this, is if you call Mass Save, do they put like different shower heads in that,
I have those,
yeah? So they use less water?
yeah, and aerators for the sinks.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, thank you.
Council Sani.
Thank you. You say we pay for sewer no matter what consumption of water that we use. Why can't we work with MWRA in saying, we have meters showing only, say, 1,000, and they only charge us 1,000 just for water usage and not for sewer usage? Is that something that we could go out to MWRA and start working with them and saying, look, we're not using all this in sewage, we're using some for gardening. Is there a program that they have in place, do we know?
Rob, you looked into that.
I don't know of a program that they do have. I can look into it a little bit further, but I know that they don't base their rates just on flow. Like I said before, it all depends on, what's in that sewer water. It takes them more time and more money to get that out and get that back into like a gray water. And so it all depends on what the city of Everett, what they're sending out. If what's in it, it's gonna take them a longer time to filter it and send it into the harbor, then it's, they're gonna they sample it, what they do. I don't know if it's a monthly or weekly sample they do, and whatever they find, then they pretty much tack a rate to that. They also base it off the population, so it's not just a flow thing.
But maybe we can look into seeing that if they have a program that if we're only using so much water for gardening and, that we have another meter in all these homes, and we have a consumption knowing how much we're using for, the meters, because you're gonna be charging people for the water only, we can go back with MWR and say, here's our usage, we don't get charged for sewage. So that's something we should look into.
We can definitely reach out and see if they do that with other towns, or what's in there, what we could do, and see what they have to say about it. The other towns that I've spoke with that do have this, they didn't mention that. I don't know, I'm sure they have a lot of the concerns that you have and the same questions. So I'm sure it's been looked into, but like I said, we can reach out.
The other thing is, we were told many years ago this sewer charge was only gonna be a short term, like 20 years, and it never went away. And I think everyone in Massachusetts should be charged. I don't think it should only just be certain cities, because they come all over to Boston and use different areas. So we are stuck in this area with MWRA sewer charge when other cities don't. So that's even something we should also look into, saying, hey, look at what's going on, why are we still being charged? When we were told there was only so many, 20 years or,
Yeah.
cleanup.
Yeah, I know the cost of wastewater treatment is getting to be an even bigger thing every year, so there's more regulations on it. so that more money. And I think that's what's happening. But like I said, you know, I can gather more information from MWRA, and we can kind of go from there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Counsel Sachetta.
Yes, I have a couple of comments to make on this. Also, item 14 is similar to what we're asking now, and I'll get to my questions on that. But on the meters, I think it's going to be, first of all, it's a good idea, but I think it's very problematic as to how it's being done, what the cost of these meters are, how would they be read in comparison to the other meter you have, where they're being read electronically. How would this be read? Water meter, wastewater, or whatever. Is that a difficult program? And then I read in your statement, the town of Newton charges each person $540 for this meter. And if they don't charge it, it would go on the water bill. So if you had 100 people, or 1,000 people wanting these meters, you're talking $500,000. And I think it's a good idea, but I think it's costly and too involved.
It would be costly for the owner to put one in, because he would have to replumb. And it's like one service line, 1 meter, so they would have to put another meter, another service line in. So you're talking about, I'm gonna say, minimum $3,000. And we just spent $3.5 million on this meter project, so we could read them wirelessly, right to the office. And we did away with that position of going out and reading meters. You know, that he has a different task of inspecting the meters. And it's hard to get back into somebody's house. I can't get into somebody's house half the time. And there is an ordinance of giving them a 3-day notice to get in there, but it's hard to get into someone's home. So it would be hard to get even if I had, like, Revere's, theirs are on they're on the garden hose, but that meter ends up like on the washing machine or wherever he doesn't want his water metered. Or, you know, so it has its pros and cons.
Counsel De La Salle.
I'll make this quick. Could we do a study? Could you get a study from like Malden or whoever already has this program and just see how much the taxpayers' water bill went up because of this separate meter? I love to have it. I got a pool. I put water in it all the time, and I'm paying for this drainage, which it doesn't drain anywhere. It goes into the pool. So if we could do a study on maybe 2 or 3 cities surrounding that, you have this second meter, and let's just see how much the average water bill went up. Now that, say, half the city has it. I'm not sure how many people, let's say you said Reading has it. How many people in Reading, what percentage has this second water meter?
I know I just talked to Melrose today, and they do. Oh, yes.
Melrose?
Melrose is, Reading is also.
Reading's both water and sewer.
I'm just curious to see.
I know in Melrose, excuse me, sorry, that they have around 1,000 people that have subscribed to the program, and they had about 7,200 people on city water. We have a little bit more than that, so you could say that about 1,000 people in Everett may subscribe to the program. It's very difficult to predict the numbers. I was trying to, but you don't know what kind of interest you're going to have.
I'm just curious how much I would save if I had the second meter. If I could put up $500 to save $800 a year, obviously you do it.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Counsel McKinnon.
Through you, Mr. President, to the guests. Let me see. Do you want to go first?
Counsel McKinnon, you have the floor.
Oh, all right, thanks. Let me see. You mentioned rainwater, doing some stuff with that type of stuff. Do you have any plans as the department head to actually maybe implement some of this stuff so that we can get it out there to the public to where they could actually utilize some of these plans that you have? I mean, reservation of water, rainwater, good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just some stuff that needs to be out there. Maybe you should put some of this stuff out there and then see if we can, you know,
We can do
reserve
that.
as much as we can,
Mhm.
and then there's savings there. Also, my other question is, who sets the water rate for Everett anyway? Is it the commission?
Well-
Is it a combined, our
Water commission.
commission plus the water
Well,
department?
it goes to the water commission, and then it comes up to this board.
Okay, but we just have to accept, not us, we accept what the commission puts before us, correct? We as councilmen do not set the water rate,
No.
because that was told to me out on the street, and I said, no, that's not true. I don't believe we even vote for it. I think the commission sets the water rates. The MWRA comes in with their rate, and then the commission adds or subtracts whatever they feel from that point, correct?
We get the assessment, and what it takes to run the department, that's all.
So that would come from you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have it from MWRA, you would have a number from them, and then the commission, which would be consistent of how many people are on that committee?
7.
There's 7 people that are on that commission, okay. And then you would come up with a number to run the department, and then the commission would combine the numbers and say, here's your rate, this is, we're going to set it.
Right.
And we have basically no say in the matter. We just have to accept it, correct?
Well, that's what would happen in March.
We had to accept it.
Accepted it,
Right, so we had to accept it because that's the number that MWRA came up with and the commission, the 7 commissioners and yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I think if we can actually get some plans into play to maybe do some type of more green work like that, reserve rainwater, stuff like that, that would be great. I mean, if we could come up with that, I'm all for that. And if you could do it in writing and just get it to us, that would be great as well.
All right.
But I just, I wanted to clear that up, to make sure that everybody knew it was not us setting the rate. It was MWRA, the commission, and yourself, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilor Napolitano.
Thank you. All right, I just want to go back in a little bit of this now. Just want to go through this now. You say cost approximately $3,000 with the replumbing, setting the meter, putting in a second line.
Yeah.
Okay. And,
That line would be just for that meter.
okay. And I was here when we went through this before, and the thing is that in theory, it's a great idea if your water bill goes down because you're watering your lawn with a second meter. But because we get billed by MWRA in its entirety, we still have to meet that amount no matter what, right? So when somebody's water bill goes down because of watering the grass, the money still has to come from someplace else to replace it. It's just the same way as when we offer a tax break, the money has to be paid by somebody. So it's paid by the people who don't qualify for tax break. In this case here, when we have, what I'm more curious is, if your water bill's going down for the meter that you're using to water the lawn, how much more is your other side of your personal bill going up to compensate? I mean, are we talking about a sizable savings, or are we talking about a very minuscule savings?
What could you do for an example?
If the residents that are being charged for water and sewer are gonna be paying an additional amount to offset the rates for the people who are just watering their lawns, that also affects the people who are watering their lawns, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, we've looked
It
through
affects
this.
the whole community.
It affects the whole community, and this is one of the problems we had the last time we explored this possibility, is that it's almost a false sense of security that there's a savings involved on the lawn meter, when in fact, the other rate is going up, and you're paying a higher amount there. Everybody is. So, I mean, I think it's important that we keep that in mind, and if we could get some type of idea of what type of a difference in ratio we might be looking at, I'd be very interested in that, because, yes, this year we did have to vote, did have to agree with a rate increase. I hope we're never in that position again, because, when we first set up the Water Enterprise Fund, the idea of it was that it would be self-sustaining.
Mhm.
If that's the case, there shouldn't be any increases in water rates on our end, unless we're coming up short, and if we're coming up short, the question arises, why? So I just hope that, we take a look at this a little more thoroughly. There are methods to be able to save water, low-flow toilets, aerators. Saw an interesting thing over the summer at Home Depot. It's a large basin that catches rainwater with a faucet and a hose on the bottom that people use to water their lawn. There's all kinds of methods to conserve water and save on your bill. But something that's gonna save you money on one end and cost you more money on the other, plus the cost of installation, you know, I honestly think that we're kind of deluding ourselves. It's not gonna save us as much money as people would like to think. And
Well, like this board said, we'll look into a few communities and see what the ratio is of,
how much the water and sewer went up versus
yes.
the straight water.
yes,
That'd be, I think that would be helpful. Give us a little more information.
yes.
Thank you.
Councilman Marquez.
Ernie, how are you tonight? Mr. Manzulli, nice to meet you. Two quick things. The meters on the large commercial that we installed were supposed to bring in added revenue and to reduce our water. It doesn't seem like it happened, it just seemed like it went the opposite of that. Are these people online, these large commercial places? Yeah, and the other one, tell me that right here. Now, I was just curious, and I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't a big supporter of the enterprise fund, because they do great work, but I just knew that the water would go out of control, and it really is out of control in this city. It's crazy. They can say what the water bills are around comparably, and they said they're not high, but they're very high compared to what we've had.
The water's not high, it's the sewers,
Well, yeah, well,
you know?
now, the large buildings, because what it seems we've become here, we have a 20% exemption which we give on people's houses, which, you know, I introduced that bill, but somebody makes up the difference, which we're talking, I'm not gonna get into the third meter, because this is something that we rehashed about 10 years ago here. But the large buildings, the multiple big units pay more money than a single family.
Everybody pays what they use.
They don't pay a higher rate.
It's not a higher rate, it's just that a commercial pays monthly.
Okay. But even like a big multi-building, 20 apartment buildings, that's still residential.
Yeah.
They still pay quarterly, because I notice now somehow we're paying the water bills and the tax bills, and it's kind of overwhelming for a lot of people. It's become a little crazy. It used to be separated at one time. But it's just, it staggers the imagination. I mean, I'm gonna give you one quick example, then I'm gonna give it up. I have multi-units in the city of Everett, and not only do we get assessed the third tax rate, which we do from getting the 20%, which we save on your houses, goes to there, but also the water bills. I mean, I have a bill that I'm paying half the money in water. Like you were saying, DeFlorio was talking, Councilor DeFlorio, I mean, it's getting to the point where we have to affect the tenants somehow, somewhere, even though you don't like to use it as an excuse. But I mean, you get people gonna have buildings that, and I'm not the only one, people have multi-unit buildings. It's getting very expensive to make it affordable for people to live in there.
Well, these landlords that don't live on the properties don't really know what these tenants are doing. And a lot of the complaints that we usually get are from landlords that they don't see what's going on.
But I had a plumber go in there and put new shower heads. It went up $200 last month. So I don't know what's going on. Every time I pick up something that says 8% in July, 8% in July. I mean, it's those 8s are adding up now. It's getting very expensive. That's all I meant. But I mean, there is an issue out there, and it's something that's going to have to be addressed somewhere. I don't know it's nice to talk about conserving and stuff, but I made an approach to conserve. I had a plumber go through the house for checkers for leaks. My bills are still crazy, so I'm not saving anything on mine. So I don't know, you know. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, excuse customary thanks. Gentlemen, if you would sit tight, there is one other piece that's right after this one that it relates to something that pertains to your department. On this piece, what's the pleasure of the council?
I just want to ask, is 2 weeks enough time to give you, to look into some information? I'd like to make a motion to lay it over for 2 weeks and have them come back with a study on the meters, other towns, what it cost, what it would cost actually for a homeowner to put one in. Also, look into MWRA if they have a special rate for if we just have water only. And I'm not, whatever else Council DeFlorio,
My,
Counsel?
Mr. Chairman, this takes, it's intense, like I said before. These are things that have taken much, much too much time, and regardless of whether it's my piece or anybody else's piece. I really believe this should go to committee. If we're gonna continue it, we'll have to continue it in committee. And, to spend time on our council meeting when we should just really be voting on stuff, I think we have to start getting into that routine. Some things, I don't like to go to committee when it's, and I don't need to be a hypocrite, when it's something that's very important that we're doing in the city, it should be a committee as a whole, because some people ask questions in committee, and then it comes on the floor, and we ask the questions all over again.
Absolutely.
So my recommendation is that we do send it to committee, and if any of the councilors, we know when every committee that goes on, Caroline, please, let everybody know when this is on the agenda, even if the people are not in the committee. And if they have any questions, they can either send it in writing, or they can come and ask the questions in committee. But this, I think, is very intense, and it should be an item that should be in committee. That's my opinion.
What's the pleasure of the council?
So I'll make a motion to send it to committee.
Which committee?
Second.
This will go what, under
Government
public,
Probably government operations.
government operations.
Is there a second on that?
and then
Second.
also they can bring the study, with them.
Okay. It's been moved and second. Counsel Hanlon, you had the discussion?
No, just on the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
We're gonna
Counsel.
refer this to committee, and, it was moved and second to refer it to committee, but just to refer it to committee without any recommendations, what the committee has to do, you should think about that. I mean, and what do you want this committee to do?
Well, Council Sani had
Okay,
asked.
hold it one second.
You know?
It's a good point,
But
Counselor.
I'm saying,
So,
well, you understand what I'm saying?
yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Counselor. All right, so the motion has been made to refer to committee. Is there any further discussion? Amend the motion to include any information?
Yes, we can
Counsel
have
DeFlorio.
the gentleman come up with the studies and come up with prices of the water meters, and if it really would be cost effective, do a further study, in other words, to come up with this information. And both the gentlemen will be invited to the committee, and also invite all the councilors to the committee, and if the councilors can't make it, please, do your questions in writing, and we can ask them at the committee, and we can get back to you with the answer.
Okay, do we have a second on that as amended? Okay. Counsel McKinnon?
And then just to add, just have a report from the committee come out, a knowledgeable report that everyone can read, so that you don't have to sit here and ask 50 more questions the night of our council meetings. So if we can have an in-depth report come out of committee, then I think that it should be mailed out or whatever, sent to you somehow, so that you have all the
Give you
answers.
enough time before the next meeting.
Yep.
All right, so the motion, if I have it correctly, is to refer this to government operations, requesting the water department appear to provide additional information along the lines of the questions that were asked tonight, additional study, pricing on meters, things of that nature. Did I miss anything? Okay. And if any individuals who are not on the Government Operations Committee, if you could submit your questions to other councilors on your behalf so that it could get answered with an in-depth report coming back prior to our next meeting so that all the council have an opportunity to read it. All right, so that has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Yep. Council Hanlon. Well, we actually did. They're kind of sitting tight because there was one other piece. So instead of having them go up and down, we did excuse them. They got the benefit of hanging with us here for all of this. But, all right, so it's been moved and seconded to refer it to the government operations. All in favor? All opposed? You have so referred. Councilor Sachetta, you had made a motion to suspend the rules and take item number 14. Was there a second on the motion? It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules, take item number 14. All in favor? All opposed? Clerk will read item number 14.
I have a couple of questions. to these
Resolution
gentlemen.
sponsored by Council Sal Sachetta. I would like to have some head of the Water Enterprise Department appear to explain the increases in the water bills that just went out, especially the sewer charges.
Councilor Sachetta.
Yes, first of all, I want to make a comment regarding the increase, and then I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Some 20 years ago, when the Water Resource Authority came into effect, we had a talkmaster show in Boston named Jerry Williams, and he says this is going to be a disaster. He said that our water bills will eventually be higher than our tax bills, and it's almost coming to truth. Secondly, I'd like to ask, how much water, first of all, again, the city looks beautiful. We have islands and parks and so on with green grass, flowers. It is beautiful. I've never seen it so beautiful. I won't take that away from anyone. But how much in our water bill do we have to pay to water these sprinkler systems that go off even when it rains out? I've gone by many islands, it's pouring out, and the damn sprinkler systems are working. We got parks, we got islands, we got, you name it, sprinkler systems all over the city. Now, this is sewage. How much is that costing us in our water bill?
I can't answer that because that does not fall under me, the parks. I just do the meter in there because I want to know what we use it for consumption. The parks and the islands fall under the Parks Department.
Do we have any meters on these sprinkler systems?
I do.
And who gets billed for this water?
The city gets billed for that water.
The city is billed for that water. It goes into our tax rate, or does it go into our water rate?
I have to find out for you. I can't answer.
If it goes into our water rate, we're paying
Yeah.
probably thousands of dollars more per, per meter, whatever. Not thousands, but hundreds. If it goes into a tax rate, we're paying quite a bit for that too.
I don't think that's going on your tax rate.
So it's going
I'm
into
gonna
a,
say it's good.
so it's costing us more in our water bill. And that's what I wanted to get to. We're paying more for water because of all these lawns and the flowers and so on and so forth, and the sprinkler systems. Okay, thank you very much.
Councilor Napolitano.
Could you look into that for us, please? Could you find out how the departments that use water are budgeted to pay their fair share of it, and where that money goes? Does it go back into the general fund? Does it go to, against the water bill, the way a resident's payment or a commercial business's payment would go in? If we could get a little insight, I think that would answer a number of the questions here.
Yeah. Well, you have fires, hydrants, there's water, hydrant flushing. What else
But, yeah, but that's the point, is where,
Street sweeping.
where is that getting picked up? Because the city's still getting charged water and sewer for that usage.
Right.
Now, who's paying for that ultimately? Is it being factored into the residential rate for water and sewer? Or is it being factored in, or is each department budgeted and assessed for their proposed usage? And then even then, where does that money get directed? Okay, I just want to make sure that that when we flush the hydrants, Councilman Del Sol's water bill doesn't go up. Now, if it's a house fire, a whole different story.
No, but Councilman's water is metered.
Yes, but the overall rate is factored by the total overall usage, or rather, I should say, by the bill from MWRA, right?
Yes, but you're only getting charged what you use for water.
No, I realize that.
Oh, you mean
But
the
the
rate,
rate,
the
the
rate, okay.
rate is based on what we have to pay the MWRA.
Yes.
So if cities, and I'm sure it's covered, and I just need to find out how, but if the city's usage is being paid by the city, then that's not artificially rising up the rate. That's my point. If the city's usage is not going toward what we pay MWRA, then every resident who pays a water bill is paying that percentage when the tax rate is factored in. That's what I'd like to know. How do these departments, how are they assessed for their water usage? How are they budgeted for it, or are they budgeted for it? And does that money go back to where ultimately the MWRA gets paid? Okay, that's what I'd like to do.
Councilor Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know we just had kind of a long discussion on the last topic. And I kind of wholeheartedly agree with Councilor Napolitano, and as Councilor DeFlorio said, I think this is going to be a long discussion. So I would just make the recommendation, if it pleases the other councils, to send it into the same committee and have it for the same night, and we can invite the gentleman up there, and they can also answer the, certainly the questions, the concerns that Council Napolitano had.
Are there any other questions? Council Delson,
I had one, but I'll wait till the
Okay.
committee.
If there are no other questions, we'll excuse customary thanks. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
The motion before the body is to refer this to government operations as well. Been moved and second. All in favor? All opposed? You have so moved. I noticed from the chair, I noticed we have a city solicitor and human resources in the audience. Are there any pieces that you folks are here on? What's the number of that piece?
Mr. Chairman, can I get up on a
Counsel?
personal point of privilege, please?
Sure.
I also want everybody to know that unfortunately Allison Della Sola is also leaving us on Thursday.
Yes,
So
she
she's
is.
gonna be another great loss for the city. So we wish her well, and good luck to wherever she's going. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. That's true. What piece is the city solicitor here for? Does anybody know? 16. The chair will accept the motion, suspend the rules, and take item number 16. In a second. It's been moved and second, suspend the rules, take item number 16. All in favor? All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read item number 16.
Item number 16, resolution sponsored by Council Michael J. Mangan, that the city consider waiving the excise tax for all active military personnel.
If we could please have the city solicitor before us. Madam Solicitor, thank you very much for being here, being patient. If you could, please just introduce yourself for the record.
Sure. Colleen Mejia, City Solicitor.
Council Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Colleen, for getting back this information for us. I know Council Napolitano mentioned at the last meeting that this potentially could have been on the books already. So if you could just give us an
Yes.
update of, what you might have here.
Sure. Council Napolitano was correct. So what currently how the statute reads currently is that all over the state, disabled veterans who meet certain disabilities within the statute are automatically exempt from paying. And then there's one paragraph in there that cities can adopt, and that relates to active military personnel. So if you adopt that one paragraph, then January 1st of the following year, the city of Everett could exempt active duty members of the military.
Okay, so if I may, Ms. Mejia, excuse me, so you're saying that everyone's excluded, depending on if they have a disability or something like
Yeah.
that, but we have to accept this particular piece in order to, because this actually, we haven't accepted it yet, so in order to
Correct.
make this correct.
Correct.
And if we did it sometime this year, would be effect beginning of January?
Yes. And what is in the state legislature and committee is just to revamp the current statute, just to have it, the active military personnel to be automatically included as well, rather than forcing the cities to adopt that one paragraph.
Okay, then, if I would then refer this back to sponsor, could I just sit down with you then, and we could?
I can draft an order for you for the
Oh.
agenda. It's easy.
Oh, okay, great, thank
Oh.
you.
Thank you. Council Napolitano.
Thank you. The piece you're saying accept, is that the Soldier Sale or Civil Relief Act?
Yes.
Okay.
Chapter
I believe-
68, I think it is.
I believe the city has accepted that.
Oh, sorry,
because
um,
in 82 to 86, as an active duty member of the Navy, living
Yep.
in Everett,
Yep.
I didn't pay any excise tax.
Okay.
So I'm just curious if we
Yeah,
could look into that, because,
sure.
again, I don't want to see us duplicate
Yeah.
something that is already on the
Yeah.
books. I think it's more important that we make sure that our active duty military who live in Everett
Mhm.
are aware of it.
Correct.
And the department that, in fact, issues and collects for excise tax.
Yes.
So if we could confirm that, I
Absolutely.
think we go right to the point of making sure that people are informed of that.
Absolutely, and, maybe that piece in the state legislature will pass, and nobody would have to worry about adopting the paragraph.
Great, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, excuse customary thanks. Thank you, Madam Solicitor. Council, what's your pleasure with the piece?
At this place, I'd refer it back to sponsor, and then we'll wait till, have her put up some draft some type of ordinance, if it is so deemed needed.
Okay. Do we have a
Thank you.
second on the motion? It's been moved and seconded to refer item number 16 back to sponsor. All in favor? All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will revert back to the regular item, order of business, item number 3.
Item number 3 is an order sponsored by Council Fred Capone's President to accept a donation of $25,000 from Win Everett to the City of Everett official celebration donation account to fund the Village Fest celebration.
Send a letter of thanks.
Is there a second? It's
Second.
been moved and second to accept the donation, send a letter of thanks. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Del Solo.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio. Yes. Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Marquez.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sechetta.
Yes.
Counsel Sani. Counsel Capone.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr.
10
President.
yeas, 0 nays, you have so ordered. From the chair, I do believe 4 and 6 are not routine. It would most likely be beneficial to refer those out to a committee of the whole, but I'll leave that to the body. It's been moved and second to
Mr. Chairman, on the
suspend the
motion-
rules. Counselor Hanlon.
On item number 4, who are you going to invite to the meeting?
We
Counsel.
can add
I don't know
whomever.
who to invite.
Well, why don't we do
Invite
this? Why don't
someone from
we,
the assessor's office?
why don't we take them collectively, and then we can have it read, and then we can decide who to send it to. and
Go
what
ahead,
to
read
do.
number 6.
So it's been moved and suspended to take suspend the rules, take items number 4 and 6 collectively. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Clerk will read items number 4 and 6.
Item number 4 is order sponsored by Counsel Capone as president to position a special outside appraiser who would appraise such properties as power plants within the city of Everett is hereby granted special municipal employee status under provisions of Mass General Law 368A, Section 1N. I think that's incorrect. I'll check that. I think it's like 2 something.
Okay.
But I'll check the MGL.
Okay. Someone from the assessor's
Yes.
office? I would say the assessor's office would probably be the proper individual, and they'd be free to bring whoever they deem necessary with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's been, is there a second on that? Okay. So, at that particular item, we're looking to refer that to a committee of the whole, and we are looking to invite someone from the assessors department and someone from the solicitor's department. Is there any other personnel that the council feels should be invited? Okay, seeing that we can leave it open-ended, they can bring whomever they feel necessary to assist in that measure. So, on that motion, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You've referred number 4 to committee of the whole.
Mr. President, the order is correct. It's not correct here, but it is correct on
Okay.
order. It's 268A.
268A. Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark.
No, it's
No.
correct on the order.
So we're okay. All right, so now we have item number 6.
Item number 6, in order sponsored by Counsel Frank Capone as president, the city appropriate the amount of $850,000 for the purpose of paying additional costs of remodeling projects to Powland School, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the city thereafter.
Would we
Therefore,
please invite somebody from the school
Councilor
department?
Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just going to, what Council DeFlorio was reflecting is that I would like to send this to committee and invite Superintendent Forrest there, School Committee President Frank Parker, and Mayor Di Maria.
Mr. Chairman,
Co-
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I spoke
Counselor?
to this problem in regards to Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Charlie Abramsky,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that he would like to come up and explain this, and he would also bring the architect.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
That's-
So I make that in my formal
That
motion.
was the
They have
reason.
Mr. Abramsky also, and then the architect to appear also.
Excuse me on the motion.
Councilor Marquez.
This 850,000, is this additional to what we already approved?
I
What did we
believe so.
approve prior, 1.5?
I'm not sure, Mr. Clerk, do you have that information handy? I'm not sure, but it would be an additional appropriation. Council,
plus.
it would be an additional appropriation.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the motion that we have on the floor is to refer this to, I believe, a committee of the whole, to invite Assistant Superintendent Obremski and any other personnel from the school department that wishes to make any kind of presentation, representative from the mayor's office. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, is there a second on that?
Second.
It's moved and second to refer this to committee on the whole, inviting those individuals. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 7.
item number 7 is order sponsored by Counsel Frank Capone as president, Jack Deere collection license of application from William R. Gear, DBA American Scrap Metal, at 381 3rd Street. All paperwork is in order. This is a renewal.
Move for
Thank you,
favorable
Mr. Clerk.
action.
It's been moved and second favorable action. Clerk, call the roll.
Counselor Delasola.
Yes.
Counselor DeFlorio. Counselor Hanlon.
Yes.
Counselor Mangan.
Yes.
Counselor Marquez.
Yes.
Counselor McKinney.
Yes.
Counselor Napolitano.
Yes.
Counselor Sachata.
Yes.
Counselor Sani.
Yes.
Counselor Capone.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays. Mr.
10
President.
yeas, 0 nays. You've granted the license. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 9.
Item number 9 is resolution sponsored by the entire city council that Senator D. Domenico and Representative McGonigal work to get some form relief for compensation for Everett residents from Massport for the increased air traffic over the city of Everett.
Council Mangan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, before the meeting, I did speak with Senator Di Domenico. As you know, he's not available tonight, but he did send correspondence. Some of the stuff is outlined, as you see here in the correspondence that we have, but he did say that Winthrop, Chelsea, East Boston are all undergoing the same exact problems. But they said they are continuing to work on this. I mean, it's not something that can be fixed overnight. And like I said, there's also a number here. I'd just like to give it out if I may, Mr. President. And it says for Mass Point Noise Abatement Line, residents can call at 617-561-3333. And also, I know Councilor Delasola also spoke with them also about this particular issue. But like I said, and then I'm sure Representative McGonigal is also informed about this also. But like I said, we have this correspondence here, and maybe we could put, Mr. President, if it's possible, from the part that says, that we have in front of us, Logan Airport general information, and then also how Everett residents can voice their companies, if we could maybe send this to ECTV and have them, put it on their, continual run on there, I think that'd be a good thing. Thank you.
Good idea, Council. Thank you. Councilor Napolitano.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I appreciate the letter from the senator, and I'm glad to provide this information. I think the original request was that we find out if they're able to do some work to get us some relief. But then again, I also understand that a lot of it has to do with being able to document the situation, and that's a big part of it. And in that regard, I think we need to reach out and help them as much as when we're asking them to help us. So I concur about sending, what I would actually I make a motion to send the information regarding the Massport noise abatement line to ECTV, have them put it on the bulletin board. But not just that, also on the back page of this, there's information about the Logan Airport Advisory Group Committee, which Everett is not currently a member. I'd like to refer this to the mayor's office, that the mayor take a look into it, about appointing an Everett resident to the committee by sending a letter to the president of the committee, Darrell Palmenser. Currently, the group is in the middle of a runway study. It would be nice if the city of Everett had a voice, or at least an ear, in this committee, so we can have a better understanding of what's going on. And it also shows the city is taking a direct involvement in what's going on. Right now, we're not part of that, so any decisions being made are being made without any consideration to this community. So, yes, I agree with the councilman about sending it to ECTV, but I also like to send this to the mayor's office for that action.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor. It's been moved and second to refer the item to ECTV to display the information and to refer it to the mayor's office for a possible appointment. Did I get that correct? Yes. Okay. There a second on that?
Second.
It's been moved and second to refer that out as stated. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 10.
Item number 10, resolution sponsored by Councilor Salvatore Sachetta to have the gate leading to Air Force Road open so that citizens can drive their car to the parking lot and enter 7 Acre Park.
Councilor Sachetta.
I see there's no one in the, oh, he's here, okay. I'd like to have Tony Souza invited so I can speak to him.
Thank you very much. If we could please have Mr. Souza before us on this item. Mr. Souza, thank you very much. You please just introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, Tony Souza.
Thank you very much.
Director of Planning and Development.
That has to go green. There we go. Thank you very much, Mr. Souza. Councilor Sachetta.
Yes, Tony, about a month ago, we were told, at least I was told by you and Jay, that this gate might be open in 6 days or so. I drive by that gate each and every day. It's not been open. I'm getting, not mad at you, but I'm getting mad at the administration for having a park that no one could get into unless they try a mile and a half around the city to get into the parking lot. When is that gate gonna be open?
Sure. Thank you for the question, and just a few points here. At the last meeting, we did come before you. I apologize, it wasn't the last meeting, but the meeting before. And Jay Monty was here, our transportation planner, and he was in contact with the folks at MBTA to try to find out what the process is that we need in order to open up that point for access. For vehicular access, right? And we never actually got a response, so last week, the mayor sent a letter to the MBTA in writing requesting that we do get a response, that we get an update as to the status of that. And I do have a copy here, and I'd be happy to distribute too, just so everyone has it for the record. But in essence, we are waiting for a response from the MBTA as to if it is appropriate to open that up, and also, what would be required with opening of that access to make that connection there. With respect to also to the point of 7 Acre Park, you are correct with in terms of the need for access for that, and certainly with the opening of this, it would allow for that. There is access there today. You certainly know the area better than I do, but we've also mapped out, there are some pedestrian access points, and I do have a plan, be happy, just so everyone can see. And in terms of vehicular access, it's not perfect, but there is via the parking lot adjacent to Boston Coach access that one could also get to the park as well from there. To that point, though, I think there's also a need to do some wayfinding, maybe some signage, so that way folks that are walking along those paths to get to 7 Acre Park, or even those that are parked in that parking lot next to 7 Acre Park, know exactly how to get there. Likewise, the people using the bike path as well. So I do have that letter here that the mayor sent over. Be happy to distribute, just so everyone has on the record as well. And we're just waiting for a response.
Briefly tell me what they're telling me, or telling you, or telling the council.
So DPD, Department of Planning and Development, we did send out requests, and basically the folks from the MBTA said they would look into it and then get back to us. And Jay Monty has sent out several phone calls to them, and fortunately we haven't gotten a response back. And so therefore, on October 8th, the mayor sent out a formal letter requesting that they get some info, and they are responsive, whether they need to do some more research, whatnot, but we certainly need to get some more information, because certainly the council has requested it, and the mayor is very interested in getting an answer to that. So
I'm not too satisfied with that, but the fact of the matter is, there isn't a park in the city that you have to travel a mile and a half to get into the park. Even the pathway from the Mattie English School, if someone were to go down to that park and fall in that little gully that they ask you to travel into, the city's gonna have a suit in their hand. Can we not just open this and let the MBTA sue us for opening it up and see what happens? I mean, it's been open before. I've driven back and forth on that number of times when it was open. All of a sudden it closes, then it opens, then it closes, and then it opens. Now, what happens when the apartment houses cross that line? Is the MBTA involved in that?
Your points are well taken. So with respect to the gate being open and closed, my understanding in conversation with the director of DPW was open at certain points for access, for electrical work, whatnot. And then you're absolutely right. It was open, it was closed, it was open, it was closed. With respect to the Waters Ave project, they actually went through a process where they had to get approvals from the MBTA and also from the gas line company to use that. There's an access point further down, right, which is basically the access to Air Force Road from their development site. So they had to get approvals as well. But I totally understand your point, though, and we do want to get an answer from the folks from the MBTA. It's been a while.
When we built that park, we used that area to get into the park. Did we get okay from MBTA, or we just built the park? I don't recall us ever getting some kind of an okay from the MBTA to build that park on the other side.
Yeah, I apologize. I'd have to check that. I don't know the answer to that, whether we got okay from the
I'm
MBTA
not
to
blaming
build
you.
7 acre.
I'm just saying, this is ridiculous. We got a park that can't be used, and that park has been there for 6 or 7 years. It's ridiculous. Thank you very much.
Council Del Solo.
Just Mr. Souza, so you know, also vehicles are parking on both sides on the Tremont side of that gate. Just so you know, when you look into this about opening the gate, if they could put signs up or something. I don't know if it's the business next door or residents, but they are parking on that road itself, the access road.
We'll look into that.
Thank you.
We'll definitely look into that.
Council Sani.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Hanlon. I apologize. Councilor Hanlon, you have the floor next.
Thank you.
You're next, Council Sani.
As I understand what you're saying, is that the MBTA owns the gate?
It's not the gate, it's the access to go across. There's a MBTA right-of-way there that you have to get permission from the MBTA folks.
Now, the right-of-way is no longer railroad tracks, it's a walking path, right?
Correct, but the ownership there is still under the domain of the folks from the MBTA.
So that walking path still belongs to the MBTA? And are they letting people use that?
The actual walking path itself, it's the ability to cross over. So to have vehicle access over the former MBTA rail line, whatnot, you do have to get permission from the MBTA to use it as, we do have permission to use it as pedestrian, bicyclist access, but for vehicular access,
Are we
there's...
having a hard time with the MBTA?
It's certainly not a hard time. We're getting a hard time getting a response from them, and for that reason, DPD, my department, we've been calling them since the last, I think, 2 or 3 weeks or so, and after several attempts, the mayor has decided to send a formal letter to the MBTA, which we sent out on October 8th, requesting that they get back to us with a formal response.
I know you must do, and I also do it, but I do a lot of traveling on Commonwealth Ave, Huntington Ave, and everything.
Yes.
And they have railroad, not railroad, but subway train, commercial trains that run back and forth in the center of the street. And there are crossovers, dozens and dozens of them. Does that mean that the MBTA had to give the vehicle traffic in Boston permission to cross that section?
I wouldn't know that.
It's crazy. We're looking at all these automobiles that are running over those intersections, and yet we can't get a 12-foot gate, whatever the size of the gate that is, to run over a small little path. I mean, that seems crazy, and I don't know why the MBTA is doing this. I mean, we used to pay the MBTA a lot of money to just to have a a train station in the city of Everett, and I still think we pay that. So it's something that we should really tell the MBTA, just like we're telling the mayor in Boston to get off the pot and do something. I think we should tell them to too. Would a letter from us help?
We've sent a letter, Mayor DiMaria sent a letter on October 8th. Certainly, if the council wished to send a letter,
This October 8th?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. We'll wait to see what happens. Thank you.
Council Sani.
Thank you. Did you look into the Waters Ave project allowing us to use that road also?
Sure. On the approval under the site plan approval for the Waters Ave project, yes, and I was looking at the plans. The access point there was specific for the residents that are parking at the Waters Ave project. And the actual site plans itself too, although you drive there today, or you drive by it today, right? It appears though that the access road is a pure cut through, right? And it is, I mean, that's when you look at it, but when the full site plan is complete, there will be a retaining wall, and that portion would actually be closed off and solely used for the purpose of the residents there. That was done by design, and also as part of the process that, again, they had to get the approvals from the MBTA. MBTA asked for specifics as far as number of vehicles traveling over that point. And so those were some caveats to that. So to answer the question, it won't be a direct cut through. It'll actually be incorporated. There'll be a design element that when it's fully complete, they'll be just restricted, and that was done deliberately for the residents there, the folks at the Waters Ave complex.
Well, so that means that they can't change the design once they already went through the planning board, that they couldn't open that up for the residents only if we can't get the gate open up? They'd
have to go back before the planning board, essentially at the at the far end, the opposite end, they have designed where there'd be a special retaining wall and part of the features of the site itself. So there wouldn't be an actual direct access from one side of the street over to the other side.
I know in the past, several months back, I requested the gate to be open, and the response I got back was we weren't allowed to because of the gas line, and I know that was a discussion
Yeah.
again, and that we could change, if we put over the proper tar, that we should be able to do that. So.
Yes, and that was also in the conversation with the Director of Engineering. He did some research, and I probably should have mentioned this at the start. He did some research on the gas line itself and felt that there would have to be some modification there, but felt that it's something that could be achieved. I'm not an engineer, but there's some, you're right, maybe it's additional tar or to ensure that the structure underneath is adequate. But at the end of the day, it's, he felt that could be resolved reasonably easy. But the end of the day is we do need to get the permission from the folks from the MBTA. And like I said, we do have the letter out last week. I do hope to get a response soon. It is a letter from communication from the mayor. And we will follow up this week with a phone call to make sure that they respond to us and also to the council as well.
Thank you.
Council DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In regards to this gate, is this, if the gate's open, the vehicles will be able to drive through the park?
No,
Is there another gate inside the park? That's my question.
there is not. And for what it's worth, I did bring just a large plan if the council wished to see in terms of the exact location that I was talking about. But no, there wouldn't be direct access to the park, but would be direct access to the Air Force Road, to the other side.
Just the Air Force Road, okay. My other question is, now you're saying the MBTA, is this part of the land that Wynn Casino's buying, or is this totally different?
There's no yes or no to that.
Is it a continuation of the road? Oh, no, it's totally different, okay.
Yeah. I am also, honestly, I'm not aware of any other purchase or anything like that that you're talking about. I really don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was reading here, I'm not sure this question was asked, but I know you're familiar with the Madeline English School.
Yes.
And you're familiar with the small pathway that runs
Yes.
at the end of the thing, that goes right down into that pathway, the hiking trail? What is the difference between that entranceway and the entranceway that we're talking about where the gate is?
In terms of the distance itself,
Well, we can just walk down there with no problem at all. There's no gate there.
there's no gate there, yes.
Right, so why is that any different from where the gate is?
Well, where the gate is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the interest of opening up that gate would be pedestrians can still walk alongside of that gate, but opening that gate would allow for vehicular access to Air Force Road and to the other side.
All right, again, we'll wait until we get the reply from the October 8th letter. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Council Sani.
As we're waiting, is there any way we can make a safe passage down from Matty English, like some steps, and so they can at least go down the steps nicely? Because I know right now, you gotta go down a ramp. And you
Sure.
can fall. So if they put some steps to lead down, at least that's a little bit safer.
And I'd be happy to touch base with the director of DPW just to check that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, excuse customary thanks. Thank you very much, Mr. Souza.
Thank you.
Counselor, with regards to this piece, whereas there's a letter that was sent out by the mayor's office, would you like to lay it on the table to the
Yeah,
next
I'll lay
meeting
it over.
pending MBTA response?
I'm gonna be patient and wait another 2 weeks to get an answer on this.
Second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you
It's
very
been moved
much.
and second to lay this item on the table to our next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're so moved. Clerk, read the next item, item number 11.
Item number 11, resolution sponsored by Councilors Capone, Napolitano, and Della Sola, that are represented from Mayor's Office and are represented from any other applicable department, appear at our next meeting to discuss the progress and timeframe for renovations at Florence Street Park.
If I may, from the chair, I request that this matter be referred to the Committee on Government Operations, inviting Mr. Souza, a representative from the mayor's office, and a representative from the contractor. There's still a lot of issues over there. It's been moved and seconded to refer this item to Committee on Government Operations, inviting the individuals listed. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? You have so moved. The clerk will read the next item of business, item number 15.
Item number 15, resolution sponsored by Councilors Capone, Marchese, McKinnon, Napolitano, and Sachetta to the mayor personally appear at the next city council meeting to discuss the recent trip to Italy by city officials and employees.
What's the pleasure, councilors? There was a communication that was forwarded at our last meeting. The clerk started to read it, and the council wanted to hold us over to this meeting, so whatever the pleasure of the council is. It's been moved and second to refer this to our next meeting, re-inviting the mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read the final item of business, which is item number 18. It's a worksheet item. So the proper protocol is to have it read in full, and then the proper motion would be to refer to its proper committees, departments, rather. Clerk will read item number 18.
Item number 18, city council worksheet, item 1, sponsored by Council Marchese, consider blinking green or yellow lights at intersection of Broadway and Bowden.
Motion to refer to traffic? Is that what you want?
Bowden?
Bowden Street.
Oh, Boyden. Oh, I know what you want. Which is right outside the new apartments that were
Backyard.
just put down there. Number 2, Councilor John Leo McKinnon to fix a cement tile that is sinking in around the recently fixed tire hydrant on Ashton Street. Next one by Councilor John Leo McKinnon to place a raised crosswalk on Glendale Street, opening of the park itself, and similar to surrounding area crosswalks. There's a painted crosswalk there now, but people are requesting the raised crosswalk there. 4 is by Councilor John Leo McKinnon, where there is a flashing light on Newton Street, right in the middle of the street, and in number 20, there was a child almost hurt by a speeding car coming from Edith to Bryan Street. They use it as a cut-through. I'd like to see if a flashing yellow light can be installed and a slow children at play sign installed on this street due to public safety as soon as possible. And number 5 is Council Sachetta, the route going up Church Street onto Webster Street. There's a disaster waiting to happen, a possible head-on collision. Getting on a Webster Street going the wrong way is bad. There should be at least arrows designating which lane to travel on. Cars coming down Linden Street, taking a right on Webster Street, it's almost like taking a blind right, not knowing that someone is coming out of Webster Street. There should be some kind of signage warning cars coming down Linden, taking the right onto Webster Street.
Chair will accept the motion to refer to the proper departments. Oh, what is the correction on number 4, Council? Okay, Council, with it? Are you a mind reader, Councilor? Okay. What is the actual change, Councilor?
It's, we need a flashing yellow light, not.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
Yeah, it's.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so
That's
we'll
no
make.
problem.
We'll make that correction under our rules. It's permitted. As amended, the proper motion is to refer to the proper departments.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to refer item 18, the various pieces of the proper departments. All in favor? All opposed? You have so moved. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? You have adjourned.
Yep.